Achievement, family. It's about belonging to a vibrant community that strives for greatness in everything. Being a Longhorn means engaging in STEM education, starting your path to college in elementary, and earning a college degree in high school. Being a Longhorn is a choice to lead, to innovate, to thrive in any setting. Here, you'll discover that learning isn't limited to textbooks. We believe in hands-on experiences that ignite creativity and fuel imagination. As a Longhorn, you have the opportunities to grow beyond the classroom, from the stage to the field. It's a great day to be a Longhorn. And when the time comes to graduate, you'll leave with a sense of accomplishment, knowing that you're prepared for whatever the future holds. The pride of being a Longhorn is something that cannot be described. It's better to experience it and feel it. This is Cedar Hill ISD. We educate, empower, and inspire.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm assuming that's supposed to be starting off, Dr. McDonald. Just nod if that's true.
Yes.
All right. All right. Good morning, staff. Welcome to Discussion with Dr. Hudson. Apologize a little bit for the delay. We had some technical difficulties, but we are back online just to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and really just kind of give a recap of the school year and thus far, and some celebrations and some things we've done, and just make sure we have connection. Sometimes we don't get as much FaceTime with each other, but we want to make sure we do that. So with me, I have Dr. Keisha McDonald, who is Director of Family and Community Engagement. Then we have Dr. Whitaker with Student Services. We also have Mr. Tellens Graham, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, Ms. Halima Jackson, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Ms. Turner, Executive Director of Special Education, Ms. Tennant, Chief of Communication, and of course, Ms. Settle, who is our Chief Financial Officer. So one of the things I want to talk about really is about accountability and our update with that. One of the things that even though TEA is still in litigation with other school districts and superintendents, of course, there was a lawsuit filed against the commission about the A through F ratings. There's actually a gag order and we cannot release specific scores. But there are some things that we should be able to celebrate. We received notification last week from Region 10 that High Point Elementary School is no longer improvement required, which means that it is no longer on the naughty list. That it goes to hardworking dedication from the late Shay Whitaker all the way to Dwight Perry, and now the baton has been handed over to Dr. Johnson, and we're looking forward to continued great success there. But what that means is there's no campus. We have campuses may not perform as well as they should, but we also have no campus that are improvement required, which means there's a lot of additional paperwork. And also just to make sure you understand, that's how TEA took over Houston ISD, because they had schools that were improvement required for numerous years, over 5 years, which gives them that authority to be able to do that. Ms. Tennant would also send y'all the slide deck because you don't have it in front of you. So you're just hearing these things. One thing I want you to look at is the 2023 Star District Comparison Overall Performance. You'll see, and applaud yourself, CHISD did really well. We outperformed most of the school districts around us. We compressed our approaches. We increased in our master's meets and masters. But of course, those are the areas that we want to continue to increase in, because that's what we determine whether kids are on grade level or not. This is just a true testament to the academics department as well as the teachers in the classroom. So we want to continue to push forward, because we don't want people to see this as a fluke. This is just trusting the process, continue on so that we can continue to have what we want to see, which is success across the board at every campus for every student. We did the fall climate survey. And of course, we try to do those surveys. We're going to do it 2 more additional time, one more virtual, not virtual, but through survey. The next one will be kind of in person. And it's really just to give us feedback because we all want to have feedback. Feedback is a gift that we learned in Holsworth, and we want to be able to improve. And the reason why we do it frequent like that, because we want to be able to do some type of intervention in between so that we can see if there's growth, there are some improvements in those particular areas. Here are some of the results. Overall, 43% of our employees said their level of satisfaction with Cedar Hill ISD. They were 43% satisfied, very satisfied. 23 was neither dissatisfied or neutral. I'm saying 34% was neutral, which is really a 77% approval rating, the way people look at them. And then 23% said they were very dissatisfied or dissatisfied. So, of course, we want to improve that because it's always one thing or two things that could lead to someone's dissatisfaction. But we also understand this is a school system, and a lot of rules and regulations are set for not by the Board of Trustees or central office, is really by the state. So some of the top thoughts that we saw was about insurance and benefits, and we'll have, I do believe, Ms. Jackson will talk about that later on. And then, of course, salaries and stipends. There was a lot of comments about that. One thing we are proud of, that the work that was put in place at the beginning of school year helped us pass the Vader at a 68% approval rating. And so, therefore, we will have stipends that we talked about in January that will go out. So, again, there are some other things. And then one of the other top thoughts was about behavior. And so that is a ongoing battle. We have all said across the board that some behaviors that we have seen as a result of COVID is not necessarily conducive with what we want to see, but we do recognize that.
Well, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to address a little bit of the thought regarding benefits. We had a change to a different medical consultant in 2021. And it was really driven by the skyrocketing premiums with TRS Active Care. And that has, the strategy of going to a benefits plan where we have more local control, combined with increasing contributions voted on by the school board. We're trying to do our very best here at the district to keep total medical costs, between the premiums and the limited benefit options that TRS was decreasing. We're trying to keep that total medical spend reasonable for our employees. We currently have 4 medical plans. When we talk about the TSHBP, Health Smart, and Aetna plans, those are the Health Smart is a locally controlled network, and the Aetna is the larger, broader network. So we do try to make sure that we have the best possible benefit options by keeping also in mind that medical costs don't stop at the premiums. But in that vein, we do contribute. We've increased from $275 per premium each month to $325 in the last 2 years. So, for instance, if your premium actually really costs $442, that cost to the employee is only $117. And the district is committed to making sure that employees' take-home pay is maximized, and that has been our challenge from the Board of Trustees.
Good morning, everyone. It is the district's belief and mission to compensate all our staff for their work. And to that end, there was a compensation study done by TASB to make sure that our salaries are competitive. And I want to assure you that updates will be made to all salary bands within our budget. So I want to share with you some of the ways we're going to compensate our staff. In January 2024, teachers, counselors, librarians, and nurses will receive a $2,500 stipend, but you must complete the school year in order to receive it. So again, that means staying until the last day of your contract. Bus drivers, campus administrators, custodians, secretaries, and support staff will receive a $1,000 stipend, and there will be no stipends for directors and above. So just so you know, some of the salary increases that have been made historically: support staff in the 2022-23 school year, paraprofessionals, auxiliary staff, maintenance, minimum salaries were raised to $15. And just so you know, at the time that we did made that increase, we were the highest within the area. So we want to always try to stay competitive. And then teacher salaries have increased from 53,000 at minimum to 56 in the 22-23 school year, from 56 to 57 in the 23-24 school year. And with the passage of the VADER for the next school year, the minimum salary will be $60,000.
Right, good morning, everyone. It's exciting to know that our children are learning under some of the best professional educators and administrators in the state of Texas. Today, we want to give an update just on some of the great things that you're doing on your campuses as it relates to behavior. We want to tell you how we can continue to support you in creating that great culture on the campus and limit some of those behavior issues we don't want to see. Now, we understand that we all believe in discipline, and that's what we want on our campuses each and every day. But we also understand that in order to get to that discipline that we want to see, it requires these four things. It requires that structure, consistency, relationships, and engagement. And that's why we want to implement several things and continue to support you on those particular things. As we move to the next slide, we see that we focus on a tiered behavioral model in Cedar Hill ISD, which we want all students to participate in SEL and PBIS, and of course, understand those Longhorn essentials while having those great classroom management and expectations that you have in your classroom and that supportive climate. Next, we move on to that tier two model where we implement that behavioral matrix, possibly the MDR process, and we start adding those students to EduGens. As we move on down that tiered model that we have, that's when we look at placing students in DAEP or mental health, and also looking at the SPED. Sometimes we look at students and we go to SPED first, but we understand that there's several steps that we want to go through before we actually go through that process for special education.
As a team, we have a couple of things that we have looked at and readjusted. So what we will do as a department, we will increase the implementation of our social and emotional learning practices across all campuses. Additionally, we will increase campus support for positive behavior intervention and support, as well as behaviors at all campuses, which will lead to decrease in disciplinary removements of all scholars and all subgroups. What you're taking a look at is about 15 weeks of data. If you take a look, you could see, of course, the high school and ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th, and 12th, based on pure numbers, which represents about a third of the entire district. But you could see those transition years, the uptick from 5th to 6th grade and from 8th to 9th grade. We are working diligently with campuses, providing professional development opportunities to address some of these behaviors. As you can see, these are a very small fraction of discipline that are occurring on campus, and it's limited to a very small percentage of students that have multiple infractions, which falls within these different subgroups. So we have our behavior specialists and restorative aides on every campus. What is a restorative aid? A restorative aid is where scholars can go to restore if they're having a bad day, to restore certain behaviors, which we would like 80% of their day to be spent doing that. What does ISS look like? It have do's and don'ts. That's a separate component. It's not in-school suspension. It's more to assist scholars with restoring the wanted behaviors. We also have Mr. Holmes. He now services multiple campuses in addition to Ms. Miller and Dr. Henderson. They will increase pulling tier 2 and tier 3 groups at every grade level, as well as increasing their caseloads on middle school and high school.
Okay, so as it relates to students with disabilities, of course, the disciplinary procedures are a little bit different. So we wanted to make sure that we are focusing on the MDR process. And so we will continue to support campuses to ensure that we are following the hearing process and then leading into an MDR for students with disabilities. We have put in place measures to ensure that campuses have behavior support from our special education department, and we will continue to work through our FBAs and behavior intervention plans. These are for students who we know have an uptick in behavior concerns, and we want to put some documentation in place to monitor their progress. So we will ensure that we are following those procedures and support campuses through those meetings and give you guidance documentation as we move forward. And then just finally, our next steps for discipline. We're going to increase classroom management professional development starting in January. We're going to provide district training as a whole to ensure that everyone is able to not only implement some classroom management, but understand what discipline looks like and the expectations for our district. We are going to conduct campus fidelity walks to ensure that we are inspecting our expectations as it relates to classroom management, SEL, and discipline. And then we're looking forward to developing some district partnerships to ensure that we're able to support our scholars beyond the classroom and campus.
So one of the things I do want to talk about is just appreciation for what you do every single day. Ms. Tennant, if you could put it back up, or Dr. McDonald, go back to the scores. That'd be
Yes.
great to upload that. One of the things, there's a lot of things to celebrate. We talk about discipline, and I sometimes hear that you don't get support from central office, and sometimes the question is, what does support look like? We look at data, we do walks, we do all the things we need to and make adjustments. Hence, one of the reasons why we talk about discipline the last couple of years. Well, last year we had our Hilltop Academy. And if you don't know about Hilltop Academy, it's really for overage kids who are not performing well in the traditional high school setting. We're talking about 18, 19-year-old freshmen, sophomores who are mathematically so far behind that they just were not making progress in school. So we had 60 kids go into our program last year. At the end of the year, we was anticipating at least maybe six. What would you consider success that first year? Maybe 6 kids graduate with their high school diploma. We actually had 32 at the end of the school year graduate with their high school diploma. And so you're talking about over 50% of the kids who went in there who were mathematically counted out because there were eventually will be dropouts through the system, were able to get their high school diploma. Not only were they able to get their high school diploma with CTE and Thai Low, we were able to get them industry-based certification. So it really was a byproduct of looking at some of our disciplinary problems and how we can positively affect that. So we continue to run that program. We even have some more kids who already started to graduate this year. And so these are some of the byproducts of looking at what's going on and how we can make positive adjustments. Again, if you look at Cedar Hill in relation to the state and Region 10, I can tell you that of all the school districts around, we made huge gains in comparison to last year. So again, this is a true testament to the hard work and dedication that is going in the classroom. And as we always say, you have to trust the process. Sometimes it takes a while for you to see the pendulum going in the right direction, but the hard work will pay off. We also want to celebrate our athletics. When you look at our football team, Coach Ward has done an amazing job in his first year as a head football coach. Our volleyball team, cross country, we have kids who set school district records, not school district, but the school record. Bruce, just really outstanding work. Our team superintendent, Sanaa, I can't say enough about her. She's doing amazing work, including having conversation with kids. And one of the things she talked about is that our kids want more clubs and organization at the middle school and lower levels. And so these are the things that we're looking at. We're looking at how we stop using styrofoam in the cafeteria because of our kids. So we're not only are we listening to what our staff are saying or looking at trends, we also want to listen to what our students are saying. Fine arts, national champions. We have an amazing fine arts program. I always think it's amazing when we go to games and everything else. People don't like to leave the stands. They want to hear City Hill Red Army Band. And not too often that I see bands get a standing ovation from the visiting or the opposing team fan base. But that's all I hear about is our students and how well they behave and how well they play. That's one thing I'm proud of as superintendent is how we look and behave on the field and on the courts and how we do things. And it just really brings joy to me because sometimes we're not getting where we want to be, but I know we have the right people in place to get us where we need to be. So we have to continue to work together as a cohesive unit to do that. Now, I don't want to take away the opportunity for people to ask questions, but I do want to make sure we will send something else for people to do that because we want to take a small piece of your time because we know this is professional development, but we want to make sure we carve out some time so you can hear from me. Also, I work with mental health on Dr. Jackson with counseling, mental health. We want to make sure we take care of the whole child as well as the whole employee. So we want to make sure that during this time, because sometimes this is also those seasons that we start missing family members that are no longer with us. And sometimes it's you need someone to talk to. So we've had plenty of services that we put in place for our employees as well as our students because we care about each and every last one of you. We want each and every last one of them to realize that in this school district, CHISD care about you. When we talk about teachers, one of the biggest things that keep them here is the culture and that culture of caring. We want to make sure that you understand that we care about you. So again, we wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, prosperous New Year, a prosperous New Year for our kids. We're excited about closing one chapter and starting a new one in the next year. And we know that this year coming up will be the best year ever. So we want to continue that progress and continue to grow and get better every single day. So as always, it's a great day to be a Longhorn.